mind somewhere else and keep going. That little voice in your head is trying to stop you from getting to where you want to be. Be successful and keep moving forward. With your host and world-renowned strength and conditioning coach, Daru.
All right, we're back. Got my boys with me. Now, if you haven't seen me on their podcast, the Drip Podcast, where we actually did an IV treatment, it's the first time I've ever done that, and probably every guest has never done what you guys do. It was cool, man. You guys are awesome. I've known you for a little bit now. Kyle and Adam. Now, Kyle, you have Reinvent. You have Reinvent. You guys are partners, right? In the gym and also in the energy drink, right?
Correct.
Cool. So what I want to do is I want to go over, if they do not know who you guys are, let's go over a little bit of bio. So I'll start with you, Kyle, and how you got started in the gym business. And I know you box with Derek Santos. You guys know Derek Santos very well. How'd you get started in just this industry now, and what were you doing beforehand to get it started?
It's kind of a crazy story, man. I actually own one of the largest credit repair companies here in the U.S., Credit 101. That's what actually led me, got me introduced to Adam here. He actually bought into one of our franchise programs, and he's one of our best producers. He owned a company called True Credit.
Nice.
He was a corrections officer at Rikers Island, and Adam has a history of bodybuilding.
As you can not tell.
Yeah, so one thing kind of led to another. Adam ended up moving down here because it made sense for business, right? It was kind of difficult operating out of Florida and New York, so he made the transition down here for the credit repair company. Ultimately, man, that just wasn't what we wanted to do, right? We just kind of were in it for the money. It made sense, right? Everyone needs credit. There's high demand, and we were good at it, but it wasn't our passion. So as you mentioned, man, like I love to box, right? It just feels like I'm not working out, right? It's natural. And I like the idea and the concept of helping people. As you're aware, man, of fitness, if you have the mental fortitude to kind of push through and be disciplined and stay to your craft, it helps you in all aspects of life. So with Adam and myself kind of letting ourselves go physically to focus on the mental side of the credit repair company, we wanted to transition back into what we naturally love and what we want to gravitate towards. And we decided to start our supplement company. And one thing kind of led to another with the supplement company. We debuted at the Olympia, 2021 Olympia?
21.
Yeah, here in Orlando. We debuted there. We had some pretty good success with the supplements.
Yeah.
And then we decided to put a home base together in a gym. And here we are now.
Now, your first supplement was a pre-workout, correct? Was it pre-workout and a fat burner?
Greens. So it was
greens. Okay.
Yeah, our line was our original line was pre-workout, greens, and the fat burner.
Gotcha.
And then we transitioned over. We created an energy drink, an energy shot.
Nice.
And then as well, men's health, heart health, and women's health. The reason we gravitate, a lot of our products are very low stim. We're focused on the nutrient aspect. We're trying to stay the healthy version of the supplements, right? I know a lot of supplements are misleading out there.
Very true.
And the reason being is we wanted to fit the core of the brand, kind of what we stood for, because we have a wellness center attached to our gym. We wanted all of our supplements to be in line with actual health and wellness and, kind of the long-term play versus that short stimulated feeling that you get from a lot of supplements here.
Gotcha. Adam, so when you met this guy or you guys started working together, did you think that this was going to be something that you were going to do long-term, or he was like, let me just get this money?
I mean, at first, with the credit repair, I didn't really know what to expect. In an aspect, it was my first business venture, first investment. Learned a lot. Obviously, it took off. We were, like he said, we were the #1 producer of the franchise. That's what enabled me to leave New York. I grew up in New York my entire life. Moved my entire family down to South Florida. We actually opened up an office and a call center that we ran successfully for over a year.
Nice.
Before we exited. And like you said, that wasn't our passion. We were doing very well financially. I've been in bodybuilding almost my entire life. I started competing when I was in high school, when I was 16 years old. I lost sight of that when we got, kind of tied up with business. I wasn't going to the gym. We were eating, going out every night, and kind of just lost sight of what we truly want to do, essentially for the rest of our lives. So financially we were good, and now it's something that we wanted to put our passion into.
Gotcha.
And that's what kind of landed us first with the supplements. And now, our first location, the gym that we just opened in Boca.
Yeah.
You know this too, right? Before we jumped on this podcast, we were talking about the side hustle and sometimes having to do what you have to do so that you can do what you want to do. And I think that's kind of the way to kind of sum it all up in a nutshell. We did what we had to do to get the capital to do what we want to do.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you. Did you have this planned out from the beginning, or was this something like, okay, now I'm good, I needed to get this capital and now I can do what I love to do? Or was it like, I'm just going to figure out something and then, oh, this is here now I can go after it? Or was it a planned out approach from the beginning?
I just knew, like, I don't know, me personally, I grew up with, I don't have anybody that I could ask for help.
Yeah.
So what made sense to me was credit, because credit leveled the playing field for me, right? Like, I don't have a mom, an uncle, or a friend that I could like, hey, let me borrow some money, I want to start this business venture. So I naturally gravitated towards credit, which I think a lot of people do, but they get discouraged because they realize it's really not that simple. It's just applying and someone gives you money. So I naturally just went down a rabbit hole and figured out that, hey, this is the moves that I need to make to get funding for my own business venture. And it wasn't credit at first. I've always been into motorcycles and stuff like that, motorcycle dealership. So I was looking to get that capital to deploy it into my motorcycle business.
Gotcha.
And what ended up happening is I realized, like, a light bulb went off and I was like, just like I need this service, other people need this service. And I've already taken the time and the effort to figure out how to do it for myself. If I can replicate this for other people, I can make a business out of this. And I mentioned the motorcycle dealership aspect, but I had a passion for motorcycles, I still do. But unfortunately, what ended up happening is by being and turning my passion into a work-like environment, I lost that passion, if that makes sense. Okay. Because it became more of a job than a hobby. You know what I'm saying? Like, dealing with other people, it kind of turned me off to that. So the difference between transitioning into the supplement company is I'm allowed to touch more people, but I don't actually have to be the face, right? Our product and the brand is what we're looking to build. So essentially, the business doesn't own me, I own the business, and I can still maintain that healthy lifestyle and produce these products, but without being the major person on the front lines.
Gotcha. And you guys are partners, you've been partners for a while now, right? How many years?
We started, I believe it was in 2019.
Okay, so pretty good time.
Yeah,
right?
And that kind of goes to show you the power of social media, right? I'm working 80 hours a week, Rikers Island, correctional officer, like you said. And I was kind of just looking for opportunities. I wanted to buy a house for my family. Yeah. My credit was shit because I didn't have enough money to pay my credit cards. I wasn't making maybe 50 grand a year, 40 grand a year starting off. Yeah. And I came across him. He was selling credit repair with his own, his business that he had. And I believe it was in 90 days, 120 days, my credit jumped from a 550 to a 750.
Oh yeah, I know. I get it.
We did you?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, we did.
It got me too. Yeah,
right?
We still do credit.
Which blew my mind. Yeah, blew my mind. And that kind of started our relationship. I had no idea who he was. I just hired his company, not even speaking to him personally.
Yeah.
And that allowed me to invest into, the actual franchise opportunity that they presented probably almost a year later.
Nice.
So this is going back quite a while.
Yeah.
And I was, closed-minded, thinking that I was doing good, making $50,000 a year, just trying to better my credit to buy a home in New York for my family.
You made $50,000 in I think 3 hours when we started this credit repair company. The first 3 hours, which is insane.
So that goes to show you, like, $50,000 a year. I was stoked. I had a stable job, and here I go. Maybe it was not even a year later. Like you said, within 3 hours after we went on a popular podcast, took off.
Yeah,
it's the Ben Baller podcast.
We did almost 50 sales in 3 hours.
That's it.
So,
and did you find out about him through social media?
Through social media.
Yeah, so he was on Instagram, pretty much.
Instagram, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Let's go back to that, because I know a lot of these guys are coaches that are listening. How big is it, and how important is it to actually gain a following on social media?
I mean, it's more important than what you actually do. Like, this is the problem with most business owners that I see, is you're so focused on your craft that's great and all, but if nobody knows that you're out there, it doesn't matter how good you are at your craft. So 80% of your business is marketing. The 20% is actually what you do. There is so many people out there that I hear, well, I'm a better coach than this person, or I have better products, or I have a better service. How come they're making more money than me? And it's simply because they're more well known than you, right? So that should be a testament to, hey, marketing is everything, because you have all these people that you know that you're better than them, right? But they're still making more money than you. And at the end of the day, money is what matters. That's what's going to make everything flow and come to life. So knowing that, now when I go into any business venture, my main thing is I understand that I'm a marketer above anything else that I do. And you need to know that as an entrepreneur going in.
Now, marketing, there's several levels, right? There's several different things there. Explain, you guys can both go at it too as well. You guys one at a time if you want, but explain like what levels do you feel are most important? And then also just go through it all. We got advertisement, you got social media. What are the things that you think, let's say a beginner entrepreneur needs to focus on?
I think they need to focus on building their personal brand before they focus on putting money behind anything, because people naturally do their due diligence. And if they come up short and they don't find anything about you when they actually look into, say, they've seen an ad about you running a coaching program. If I go to your social media, which I'm naturally going to do, right? Because this is now your resume, so to speak, nowadays. So if I go to your social media, your Facebook, your website, right, and I see that on a day-to-day basis, you're not consistently doing what you're trying to sell me, I'm going to go to the next person. So the first thing is I need to establish organic traffic. I need to get some type of, brand presence, some type of following, and I need to be consistently doing that. And then I believe you can venture off into ads once you actually have social proof, because the two kind of go hand in hand. Right.
I like it. Anything from you?
No, just to piggyback, it gives you credibility, right? So that was the first thing that I did once we got together with my business. I built up my own personal page before we even started the business page. It's because when we had clients that signed up through the credit repair, through the business page, they wanted to see who the owner was, right? They wanted to make sure their first head that it's not a scam, and that, the owner is real, he exists, and he has credibility, right? I'm a previous law enforcement. I have a family. Like, I'm not just somebody behind a screen with a digitized logo, so to speak.
Yeah, to add to what he's saying, man, is somebody has to be the face of your company. And if you're just starting out, it should be you, because you can't afford to pay somebody that has a recognizable face. So we were just talking about like putting sponsors out. Like if you're looking at, say, Zoa's new energy drink, Rock's the face of the company, The Rock. They cut a large check to The Rock to make him the face of that company. I'm assuming, right? But if I was just starting out as an energy drink, right, and I needed to build some type of brand presence, and I can't afford to pay The Rock, right, I need to be the face of the company. Somebody has to come to mind when they think about it. You think about Tesla, who do you think about? You think about Elon Musk, right? You think about Apple, you think about Steve Jobs, right? Those people are the person that's giving that business some type of credibility, and they're who they look to when the business is going in the right or wrong direction, right? So somebody has to be the face of it. So
that gives me this question. Do you think it's important first, before they even open up the business, to build a personal brand? Or can 100%. Someone actually go at the same time and build, like, I'm this guy and I'm building this?
I think you can do both simultaneously. I think it helps if you already have a personal brand. I think personal brand is more important than the actual brand itself. And the reason being is that if you build, just say, a car dealership up, and whatever the name of the car dealership is, that car dealership can't endorse another business outside the automotive field, right? It's not going to have any credibility. If I want to go become a water bottling company tomorrow, I can't. If I have a personal brand, right, I'm known as the person that built those businesses. I can endorse a different company in a completely different field and instantly give that business some type of credibility, right? So business brand can't translate over to another business brand outside of that field. Personal brand can go everywhere. So when you're looking at again, like Donald Trump, for instance, a lot of people don't like him, but I mean, the guy can open up a university, he could open up a car dealership tomorrow. It's instantly going to be something because his name's attached to it. So I think personal brand always is more powerful than business brand.
You have proof with every Kardashian that came out with their own private label brand. Kylie Jenner with the makeup. Would that brand been successful if it wasn't backed behind Kylie's name? Probably not. right? So that goes to show you that it always comes down to personal credibility and who's backing the company.
Yep. I like that. So at that point, when you're looking at coaches, trainers, anybody that's an artist, let's say per se, right? And you know there's a large amount in our industry with trainers and teachers and things like that, they feel like they're not being their organic, authentic self because they're constantly having to put out on social media. And this is what I get all the time with these kids. Like when I go to seminars, I did a whole branding presentation on this thing because not only trainers now, but strength and conditioning coaches, they're very selfless. How can they get over that? What is the main thing that you would tell them to, like, all right, this is what you need to do?
So I don't think it matters what fields you're in, right? Branding is branding and personal branding is that. I think you can be authentic to yourself and still put content out. You don't have to change who you are. You're just letting people know who you are, right? So right now you're hiding behind whatever. You're building personal relationships with people, say in your community. Social media is just that on steroids, right? You're gonna go past your community, which is gonna increase your revenue because now you're targeting people outside of just your area, right? Now I can talk to someone in Florida, I can sell a coaching program to someone in California, I can sell a coaching program to someone in Brazil, right? Like, so you gotta imagine that by you not doing this, you're basically just keeping yourself, closed in a box. And you don't have to mimic, say, Phil, right? You're not gonna be Phil, you don't have to be him. But that's a good thing. That's your superpower in my head, because there's going to be people out there that love you and there's people out there that hate you, right? Now, if you take somebody else that's completely different than you, it goes the same for them. The people you could sell, maybe they could never sell, and vice versa. Yep. People resonate with certain people because they feel a connection, a similarity to that person. So by you being authentically you, someone has similar background, similar experience, right? Similar culture, right? And that's going to allow them to gravitate towards you naturally and feel comfortable with you naturally. So just be you.
I think that's the hurdle that prevents a lot of people from even starting, because they're so worried about the content that they're putting out that it has to look a certain way, sound a certain way, has to be professionally edited. A lot of times the engagement on any type of video production is the highest when it's raw, when it's organic, right? Somebody just, like you said, just being themselves. They don't have to fake it and try and be somebody that they're really not for the sake of their followers or likes or whatever they're trying to come across in their content.
Okay, so let's go tactical, right? What's the tactical way to build a social media following? Let's go with you, Adam, first.
I think a lot of it has to do with engagement and the type of content that you're putting out. A lot of times your followers want to engage in valuable ideas that you have to say and do, right? Something that they're going to learn from. They want to come to your page because you're putting out, essentially free advice, right? You're not here to sell them anything. You're here to just give them advice that they would essentially pay a mentor for. And that's what's going to continue them to follow you and engage with your daily content as well.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I think same thing like he's saying. Tactical is give your best stuff away for free. And the reason being is, most people when they get on social media, they're trying to tell everybody about what it is they do. And the problem is you're forcing, you come off salesy and no one wants to follow you because they're getting no value from you. It's just like an ad, right? But when you're giving out free information, say it's a workout plan, a free way, a way to count their macros, an app that's helped you, right? A ton of things that you can come up with. When you give that, now it's valuable information for them to follow you. They're getting something from following you, right? It's an exchange. And then later on, what comes from them working with you isn't the information, it's personalizing that information, right? And making it geared towards that person specifically, right? So they're paying more for one-on-one access from you. It's like running a group class and then, personal training is just me and this guy, right? You can get something from the group class, but it's not going to be as specific. So that's where I think a lot of people lack, like he said, man, is you're just too salesy. You're not giving away free information.
It's authenticity. And people feel that too. It's like, for me, like we want to put out, and you guys do the same thing. It's like you guys are putting out things that you want people to know so that they can trust you, like and trust you.
For sure.
And that goes a long way, and people feel that.
You put out training footage, you know, I put out tons of even, you know, nutrition advice all the time, but what I say is not necessarily going to work for you, going to work for her or the next person, right? So I have over 100 clients that come to me online, and everybody's individualized, right? It's not a cookie cutter type of program. So I'm going to put out content, of course, but it doesn't mean that it's essentially for you. It gives you a baseline, right? And that's when that more, you know, customizable approach comes into play.
Gotcha. So let's transition a little bit, because now we've been gym owners you guys been gym owners for a bit now, right?
Yeah, getting there.
Gym owner since I was 22 years old. Like, just because I didn't want to go to other people's gyms, you know, like I was sick of going to LA Fitness or something. But how did you decide to just open up your own spot and want to do your own thing, and like, what's the best way that you can go about doing that for some of these guys that want to open up some spots down the line?
Oh man, we kind of got squeezed into opening up a gym. Our main thing was, you know, I'm a go with the flow, ride the wave kind of guy, right? Like, I figure things out as they go along. I think that's a testament to be an entrepreneur. You could probably go to that, is right, you're still figuring things out. You know, people think that you need a perfect plan before you start, and that's so far from the truth. You just dive in, and you know what I mean, day to day you're hustling, trying to keep fucking everything together. And on the outside it might look pretty, but on the inside, you know what I mean, you're holding shit in as it's falling apart. So we partnered up with this guy that was had an extensive like following, a good background, and he kind of said, hey, you're opening the wellness center. If you attach a gym to it, right, like, I can generate a good lead flow, and a lot of people are going to come with me. And we kind of fell into that. Hey, you know, we believe this guy. Long story short, he ended up, you know, not being who he said he was, which is most people. But you're going to deal with that along the way. I'm sure you've dealt with it a million times, right? I know. So, right. And, you know, by that time we already signed a lease. We already had a gym. We were already committed. And, you know,
go through it.
We kind of just kept pushing forward. And, you know, like you said, he's into bodybuilding. You know, I do the boxing stuff. So it didn't hurt us to have a gym. You know what I mean? So
just now that we're in it, I mean, just like a word of advice is just be original. Like, you know, there's gyms popping up on every corner. Everybody has tons of options, right? Equipment wise, atmosphere wise. Be original, be unique, and the people will flow in.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
You know, so that's a testament to what we've done and what we've built over the last 6+ months of just being who we essentially are and what our vision is. Our vision never changed.
That's the thing that I would always say, like, even stepping into your guys' gym, it's immaculate. Like, it's awesome looking. It looks the part. It has that appeal to it, right? But you can feel the authenticity in it, because you could tell it came from you guys. You could feel it. When I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, this makes sense. You see what I'm saying? And like, hopefully when anybody goes into a gym that's owned by the owner, it should be a direct representation of them.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Correct.
So with that being said, is this something that you want to take to the next level, or is it something that this is like the HQ, this is where it's going to be, or do you want to franchise and do other things?
Yeah, we're looking to franchise out, man. We think big over here. You know, you were talking about you know, like, trying to get people, like, open up their mind to the possibilities and stuff. I've always been the complete opposite, man. Sometimes I probably need to put some walls up, because I don't see anything in my way. And I think that's allowed me to get to where I am, is that I consider myself equal to everybody, right? And in a good sense, I don't see anybody above me. So with that being said, it allows me to feel like, if you could do it, I could do it. And then if I can do it, like, right, like, people don't really believe in that, but I truly do, and I think that comes from my belief in God, because I feel like, you know, like, I don't live by man's laws, I live by God's laws, and God is great, and He is abundant, and He is all that, and I absorb that, and I walk with that every single day. So when other people tell me no, it didn't come from the person that I follow. Like, who are you? You know, and that's kind of the mentality that I keep, and I think everyone should keep that mentality, because but it's just that's literally the reason I'm here.
Well, it shows that you guys are doing great, man. You know, so like with the supplements, that kind of goes hand in hand now at this point, right? So now you have the supplements, you have the clinic too as well. It's the wellness center.
The wellness center, yeah.
What does the wellness center bring? I know you have the IV treatment. What else do you have there?
Yeah, I mean, we do extensive blood work, blood panels. We get a ton of athletes that want specific markers evaluated. A lot of clinics that you go to, they're just going to pull a basic, what they call a CBC or a CMP, a metabolic panel that pulls, your liver enzymes, your creatinine, checks your kidneys, but they don't go extensive into, a full lipid panel, a full hormonal base. You want to check not just your testosterone, but of course your estrogen levels as well. So we've gotten a ton of athletes, a lot of professional bodybuilders who do go on HRT, protocols through us on their off season, and a ton of peptide therapy as well is huge right now. Yep. Fat loss, do a ton of growth hormone secretagogues like pamoreline, samorelin, tesamorelin, which are just natural alternatives to growth hormone. So if a patient doesn't want to take, exogenous testosterone or growth hormone, they can go on a peptide as well. So that's
how, and I know this is going to come up, how safe are peptides?
Peptides, again, they've been around for quite a while. They haven't been available like they've been for the past couple of years. They've been underground for the last, when I was coming up 10 years ago, right? So if you wanted to get on a peptide, you were getting it on the black market, so to speak. So now that they're produced and manufactured in these compound pharmacies, they're relatively safe. A lot of them, they're just like the growth hormone secretagogues, they're sending a signal to your pituitary that's releasing your natural growth hormone levels. So you're not taking exogenous hormones. That's essentially administering, hormones into your body, right? Yep. It's not growth hormone. Yep. You're just releasing what you naturally produce. Yep. Correct.
Is this safer than pro hormones from the past?
100%, without a doubt. Pro hormones, like back in the day, Mark McGuire.
I just threw that one too.
We actually, a perfect example. Last week we had a patient come to us for blood work to get on HRT. He just signed up last Tuesday. We asked him, the client intake form, what he was taking based on his results from his blood work, his blood panel. His liver enzymes were through the roof, like he just went on a binge drinking alcohol for 2 weeks straight. Yeah. Doesn't drink. What were you taking? He was taking 2 SARMs and a pro hormone. Yeah. So that goes to show you the damage that they're doing. They think it's safer than steroids, right, or testosterone. When they take a look at their lipid panels, cholesterol was through the roof. Yeah. His creatinine was high, elevated. Just everything was red when it came back through his.
A lot of this stuff has like a negative connotation to it, just because they think about like injectables, but they don't realize the reason you're injecting is to bypass the liver, right? So you're trying to actually save something going on inside. So people are like easily will take orals, and they don't realize that like the oral version is more damaging than the injectables.
That's a good point.
So like in their mind, it's like, oh, you take needles and this. Well, if you really know how shit works, and
so the people that need B12 shots, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly, man.
We do a lot of injectable vitamins as well. I'm big on glutathione. I get 300 milligrams of glutathione every other day.
Explain glutathione real quick.
Glutathione is the strongest antioxidant that your body can produce, right? So by taking, it's been on the market in an oral form for years. Yep. It doesn't absorb nearly as close as it would if it was administered, intramuscularly or through intravenous like we did on the podcast. You got glutathione in your bag as well.
That's why I was like, give me the glutathione.
Yes, glutathione is huge with athletes. Whenever you have any type of inflammation in your body, or even just preventing, common colds.
Well, every time I go overseas, I get a bag. I have to, and I feel 10 times better. Like, one, I think also just psychologically, I feel better too as well. But
a lot of psychological effects. Yeah. Glutathione, injectable glutathione, should be in any fighter, athlete, bodybuilder's regular protocol on a weekly basis.
And this is obviously IV.
No, just injectable, intramuscular. Yeah,
intramuscular. Okay.
They can do it. They can administer it themselves.
Gotcha. And this wouldn't be something that you would take orally?
No.
Okay.
The absorption rate orally is about 25%.
Okay, so there you go. That's why you do injectables.
Exactly.
That's exactly what you do.
All right, so with the wellness center, obviously you want to focus on that too as well. It seems like it's an all-in-one, right? You have the supplements, you have the wellness center, you have the gym.
And we got a juice bar.
Oh, the juice bar.
Like the smoothie
Let's
bar.
talk about it. Why'd you decide to put the juice bar in there? You was like, you know what? Let me just go ahead and make sure that they get their protein, they get their, you know, their.
And we're looking for be a one-stop shop, like you said, man. You have to be kind of innovative. He said there's gyms popping up on every single corner around here, right? Like, what's going to separate you from the rest, right? And you know, it has to be, like you said, a representation of yourself. Health and wellness isn't just about working out, right? It's about a lot more than that. It's what you put in your body, right? So we just figured it made sense to put the juice bar in the check-in counter. One, from a marketing standpoint, right? Like, the first thing that you see when you come in is our drinks displayed. You see our smoothies, our juices, and then you're also going to be reminded on the way out. So obviously it's going to help with revenue.
Yeah, I think I bought something too at the end.
Yeah, right. Grab a smoothie, grab a shake on the way out. The convenience factor for the members as well, right? It's more difficult for you to leave, go to another smoothie shop and so forth. So,
that's true, yeah.
And then if you are like we are, which is like a membership to your gym where people are actually checking in on a day-to-day basis, if we're monitoring our check-ins, right, and we know, hey, we have X amount of people walking through the door every day, how can we capitalize and sell them again? Because we're getting that month-over-month revenue from them, but how do we actually upsell or bring in additional revenue and capitalize on retargeting our existing customers, which I think as a business owner, a lot of people forget they acquire the customer and their fall off rate's so high and they're not retargeting known buyers, right, is which we work on. And that also helps with the wellness center aspect in the back and so forth. It allows us to, you know, people that we are known buyers and already believe in the brand, allows us to funnel them to other aspects of the business.
I like it. Let's talk about, because we both, it's funny, we have a lot of parallels, me and you. And even me and you, Adam, I did my bodybuilder back in the day. I'm not as big as Adam, by the way.
I've seen pictures, though. I've seen the photos.
I had to showcase something.
Yeah.
All right.
I've seen it.
We have, so, supplements, right? I have my post-workout battle testing. You guys have now how many different products with Reinvent You?
We have about seven.
Seven
Yeah,
products.
a combination of powder, encapsulated, and the two flavors of the energy drink line as well.
We got 8, man, because we're pushing this post-workout.
Oh, man.
You know what I mean? We got to throw it
together. We're together.
Push it like it's ours.
8 with the battle test.
Listen,
Yeah.
it's better to partner, right? Anything. So give me like a basic, when you started, what was the first thing that you guys decided to do other than build the brand? Because we talked about that. What was the next step on getting people aware of the actual supplement line? And then from there, how do we grow it?
So the first step was obviously you need to come out with some type of hard launch, and then we kind of just hit the drawing board, came up with a budget. What do we have money-wise to deploy to marketing behind this? You know, and then you want to get it in the hands of micro-influencers, I like to call them. You know, people with maybe 100,000 or less followers. The reason I say micro-influencers is because one, they'll push your products harder. Two, they're probably more involved day to day with their followers, right? Not that many people are targeting them, all right? And they're cheaper, right? So for what it would cost you to get a major influencer, you could probably get 20 to 30 micro influencers for the same price, right? And they're just going to be more involved, and it's going to give you more content, right? And help you know, propel your brand versus just one specific person. So I just think coming up and figuring out what your budget is before you piece everything together, who your core audience is another one. You have to know your audience, and you have to make sure your branding matches your core audience, right? So the easiest way that I could put this, man, is if you look at like supplement company Redcon One, their core audience is bodybuilding, right? They've tried transitioning outside of the world of bodybuilding with little to no success. And the reason is they're losing sight of who actually follows them, right? And I think that they're getting back on track now, right? But I think if you don't know your core audience, you're just kind of wasting money targeting the wrong people.
That's an interesting fact that you said there. Why do people deviate from their core audience? Is it because they think they can transition, or do they want to elevate? What's the main purpose behind that?
I think people just are feeling like they constantly have to change, and they don't have that mindset of if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? So you're constantly feeling like, what's the next step in business? And the next step, if you're successful, is doing more of what you already do, right? And I think a lot of people get away from that, and they feel like, oh, well, you know, I have bodybuilders, and now I see these people over here, and they're targeting fighters. Now I want to target fighters, right? And the problem with that is well, now your core bodybuilding audience is the things that bodybuilders need and gravitate to, and the thing that's in their supplements and so forth is not what fighters are looking for, right? So now you're trying to transition away from this. You really don't have that much extensive knowledge with fighters, right? You really don't know what they're looking for and everything. Now you're trying to rework this brand to be more appealing to them, but as you're doing so, it's less appealing to your core audience, right? So I really think about sticking to what you're doing, and then if you want to open up additional branches later on, maybe make separate branches for just that and bring in somebody that already has extensive knowledge in that field. But I think master your craft, your audience, know who they are, target them, stick to that, make sure your branding's around that, and just you'll be a lot more successful if you stick to things that way.
A lot of these companies are just trying to copy each other, right? And a lot of times that's where they fail. So like he was talking about a bodybuilding brand, and they ended up coming out with, if I remember correctly, a gummy line, right? Because if you walked into any vitamin shop at GNC, these Goji gummies and melatonin gummies and apple cider vinegar gummies, they were killing it on all the shelves, right? With these wellness companies. But you can't have a bodybuilding brand that's starting to push melatonin gummies when you have 90% of your audience is buying pre-workout.
True.
Right? So, you know, they lose sight. They're coming out with collagen and health and wellness. That's not their forte, right? That's not their audience. So obviously you're going to fail. You could try, but I think at the end of the day, they're just trying to ride some sort of wave.
Like Drake came out with a country song tomorrow. They're be like, what the fuck is he doing? You know what I'm saying? So
I wouldn't put it past him.
People still listen to it because it's Drake. But yeah,
that's true. I was going to say, he probably could do well with it.
That could pull it off.
He probably could do well with it, man.
You know, but
that's funny. I do agree with you on that too as well. And that's something that I've had to really focus in on, because I know my core audience is MMA. In combat sports in general, a lot of boxing too as well. You know, the thing is that I would say for me as a practitioner, I know that I'm more well versed than that as a coach. So it is hard for me to stay in that world when I go, but I do know this and I do know that. But from a branding perspective, it's vital that I stick with my core audience.
Right? Of course.
Now, where do you guys see this whole thing going within the next, let's say, 5 to 10 years? We'll go with you first.
I mean, my major goal here is, right now we're putting a lot of the work in, but I mentioned earlier in the podcast that there's two types of business owners. One where the business owns you, and one where you own the business. To me, you don't own your business until it can operate without you being a key component in the day-to-day operations. Now, maybe you check in, and obviously you come in and you do some fine-tuning here and there.
That's a job.
But you should be able to pluck yourself away from the business and it operate. So knowing that that's our long-term vision, we're trying to master that with this just one simple location that we have, and then we're trying to figure out how we can replicate that. So the long-term goal is to franchise out or license out the name. The reason I say license out is less legal stuff involved with licensing out your name than franchising. But if we essentially, would like to take over, man, I want as many gyms as I possibly can get. You know, our core audiences, we're trying to be more mainstream than specialized like what you're doing. And the reason is, you know, I'm not gonna to front it like, you know, I am in this because it is passion of ours, but I'm also in it for the money. You know, so the more mainstream.
I think that's authentic that you're actually saying that though, because a lot of people front and act like they're not about the money when they actually are.
Oh yeah, they lying.
Listen, man, everybody, listen, if it doesn't make money, it doesn't make sense. You know, you can be passionate about something for so long, but if the lights can't stay on, that passion starts to wither away,
for sure.
Right? So money's going to increase your passion for things, right? If you're seeing a return on what you're doing, all of a sudden you're more passionate about what you're doing, right? I think that's in any business, any field, anything, at least if you're money motivated. And the reason that I'm money motivated is because I can help the people that I truly want to help, right? I talk about my kids, talk about my family, right? Even some of our clients, stuff like that. Like, we have milestones that we want to hit. Like, we're taking people under our wing from our gym. Adam's putting them through coaching. We have a couple, of our trainers that we're bringing up, that we're putting through some bodybuilding shows, just to showcase and give credibility to what we're doing, right? Yeah. By the way, this girl that we got, she's taking first here in Miami in the next 4 or 5 weeks.
5 weeks.
5 weeks, market.
Nice.
So, we're just, just trying to figure it out one step at a time. But our vision is the world, man. That's and everything in it.
Love it. I love it. Perfect shit, man.
Yeah.
What do you think?
It just goes back to my key component of like just keeping everything original and not straying from your vision, right? Like when we kind of sat, him and I, together of what we wanted this gym to become, it was clear exactly what we needed to do in order to get there, right? So my take was, I've gone into gyms that I love their equipment, but the atmosphere was hit or miss, and it was dirty. It wasn't high end, right? You can go into gyms like a Lifetime. It's higher end. You have a ton of amenities, but the equipment is kind of half-assed, right? And the vibe really isn't there. So why not have a gym where you have all in one? We have hand-picked equipment, everything that me and him put together equipment-wise, even the boxing and everything outside has been hand-picked, selectorized by us.
Yep.
All the amenities from the locker rooms to the sauna is something that you would find in a Lifetime, but the vibe that you would get in a more exclusive type gym, right, atmosphere. So it's kind of everything that we tied into one that you really don't see anywhere else. And that's what we originally stuck to. That's where our originality comes to, and there's no other gym like it.
Yeah, all mainstream gyms, like he said, they have enough equipment to get you through, any basic body part. Like, maybe you can work that part effectively, but we have specific equipment that we've placed in there that makes it worth people coming to that location with the feel of a mainstream gym, right? So, just kind of the best of both worlds, and we think that's our advantage, going in against everybody else, because like he said, is people enjoy those amenities. You want the locker rooms that are fully, stocked. You want to grab your towels. You like to be able to take a shower in a nice place and store your stuff and clean up. But then you also want, that, like he said, that one person owned gym where he picked out all this specific equipment, and it's the top of the line stuff, and that you can actually get a more effective workout if this is what you're taking more serious.
Gotcha. Let me ask you this. If somebody is looking, let's say a coach is looking to start up a gym, right? Doesn't have a lot of capital, has no capital. Let's say he's bootstrapping it. What's the first thing that they should do?
If you're looking to start up a gym, I mean, what I would do if it was me, I would try to get some type of personal training clients, maybe go home to home, right? And I would try to keep that within maybe a 5 to 10 mile radius, so that when I had a home base, I know that I could retain those clients and actually give them a place to go. I would do that until I had some type of increasing revenue, and then I'd probably piece together equipment, maybe work out of a garage or something like that until I can start to build up that equipment. And the reason I say start out with the personal training aspect is because you don't need a ton of equipment to generate a decent amount of income if you're giving people one-on-one time and going to them, right? Someone can get an effective workout just out of equipment out of the trunk of your car.
So I had 800 square feet of working space with a tire, sledgehammer, and a battle rope that I got out of the garbage. And I scaled it from 12 members to 60 members, still in that 800 square foot facility. I was making crazy amount of margin, right? So yes, you can definitely do that, which is very important. People think that they need all this equipment just to start out.
Absolutely.
Whereas like in the beginning, if you're a sole trainer, they're coming for you. They're not coming for the actual gym, right? Yeah. When you're talking about trainers, you guys are different though. When you guys are actually competing with and doing a better job, in my opinion, than your LA Fitness, your Gold's Gym, your membership gym, even a Lifetime. I think you have other things over them, right? Because you have the culture, you have all the amenities, plus it's still a reputable gym where you can get after it.
Yeah.
With trainers, I believe that they think that they need to be above an LA Fitness when they start off as a sole trainer? And that's the problem.
That's because a lot of these people are taking advice. Like we talked about getting off track of your vision. Mm-hmm. And that can go both ways for myself and you. Like you say, you want to branch out because you may talk to me and feel like I have the better business plan, right? Oh, mm-hmm. Kyle's mainstream. I should go mainstream, right? Mm-hmm. And I can go vice versa. I'm like, oh man, Daru's more specialized. I love boxing. I want to start focus more on combat stuff, mm-hmm. right? You have to know your vision and tune out the noise. Everyone always has a better idea than you. Mm-hmm. Right? Everyone always has a better plan than you. Their grass is greener than you. They know better than you. Yep. Right? The thing is what happens is when you're walking a straight line and you're getting pulled this way and this way and this way, right? It takes you a lot longer to get to where you're originally going, and you're always going to pull yourself back on that track. So if you can have that mindset of knowing that it's not the plan so much, it's the destination, right? And you don't need to worry about anyone else's plan for you but your own. And if you just keep that straight line on that destination, you're gonna get there because everyone else is talking and you're doing, right? You're walking that straight line. So another thing to keep in mind too is that transitions down to your customers. We get customers who walk in and be like, when you're 24 hours, I'll sign up. They signed up now that we're 24 hours, they never used the 24-hour access, right? So a lot of people have these ideas of what I need, right? Oh, I need this specific incline bench. I need this, I need that. A lot of these people come in there and you'll realize they don't even know what they're talking about. They don't even know what equipment they're using. They don't know why they're using it. They don't know how to properly use it, right? People's biggest fear is admitting that they don't know something. And that goes to your clients and that goes to everybody else. So you know as a professional what it takes to put them through a real workout. You know as a professional what's really needed. Me and you could probably go to the park right here and I can get a better workout than if I went to Lifetime Fitness by myself, right? Because you're gonna know how to effectively put me through a workout with the bare minimum. If you're a trainer and you're confident in your abilities, you shouldn't be worried about all of those things because your abilities is what's selling, right? You're teaching these people how to you know, when I first started training with you, you know, I'm used to putting up weight and stuff like that with him. I started training with you. We weren't even using any weight. I'm doing shit I've never done before, right? And I'm not even touching on bands and this, you know, my balance is off and X, Y, and Z, and you're telling me how it correlates to the boxing, right? Like, bro, like that was the hardest workout of my life. I'm walking on my tippy toes for, you know, down a turf. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, so like, you know, if you put these clients through that workout, what you're saying becomes a reality and they start to realize why they need you, right? So when you put me through that workout, I started to realize like I had a closed mind, right? Like, I don't need, what's this guy talking about? I'm doing this special thing. Once I did it, I realized how difficult it was and where I was actually lacking and why you were important in my life and why I needed you as a trainer.
Oh, yeah. And then all the extra shit comes later on.
Yeah, and then the extra shit comes later on.
How many times you hear these stories of, you know, any of these big companies starting out in garages or in a spare bedroom of their house, and then it turned into multi-billion-dollar corporations.
Most of the biggest companies
right?
in the world,
Amazon, a ton of them. So, you know, you stick to what your initial belief is, your core values, and you work, and eventually that vision turns into a much bigger, you know.
Yeah, you always get the sloppy guy telling you how to get in shape. You get the poor guy telling you how to get rich. You get this, you get that. You have to. If you don't do, you don't know. That's like my philosophy, right? If you haven't done it, if you're not in the position that I want to be in, then you don't know what you're talking about. So I think a lot of that noise comes from outside. Like, you can't start your own personal training business. You don't have this, or you can't open your own gym. You don't have this.
Yeah.
Those people don't know because they've never done.
Sure.
You are speaking from a place of experience, right? A tire, right? A small facility. Yeah. You've done it. So again, man, if you can do it, anyone else can do it, right? It's just having the grit to start.
No, absolutely. That's great advice, gentlemen. All right, so we talked a lot about business. We talked a lot about entrepreneurship, about training, about your facilities, and all the businesses that you guys done. Where can they find out more details on you in particular, your brand, and then also Reinvent You? Adam, go first.
My personal Instagram, Adam Reich, R-E-I-C-H. We also have the Reinvent You gym. Our coaching page that we just launched 3 months ago. We have, like I said, over 100 clients. 2 of them are competing in the Miami International Show June 3rd. That's Team RNVNT on Instagram. And that comes down to credibility, like you said. You know, I've been in this game for 20 plus years. I've lived it, I breathed it. I didn't just open up a book. This is something that I've done through trial and error. and our clients are testaments to that.
Nice.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at international_Kyle. And I don't know if you mentioned the gym page, but we're Reinvent You Gym. And then we're Reinvent You _ is our supplement page on Instagram as well.
Nice, man. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me.
Yes,
we'll talk a little bit more afterwards. But make sure you follow my guys, man. Doing big things in the fitness industry, the supplement industry, and even in the credit repair industry.
Yep.
So check them out. See you guys next time.